Something I find interesting about the UK is that down south, I've never been clocked as an immigrant, at least not since I was a little kid. But the further north you go, the more likely it is someone will ask, "Where are you from?" Or, "Are you Canadian? Are you American?" And the answer to the latter, at least, is yes, I'm a US citizen and I moved here when I was 5 or 6. I am a genuine first-generation immigrant. But most people I've ever interacted with, and I would bet most people online, can't tell. There are some minor perks to this. Once in a while, you'll get to hear someone tell you, to your face, exactly what they really think about your nationality, because they don't realize that's what they're doing. You might think that would be upsetting or offensive, but in reality, in my experience, you just feel like a spy. Another little perk is there's a fun game you can play. All you gotta do is talk badly of immigration or immigrants until someone comes at you, and then you can tell them, yeah, exactly. Us immigrants are terrible. Worth a little chuckle once or twice. And one more little perk that someone in my kind of position gets is the gift of perspective. My interests are a bit different to the average person. Take something serious like Brexit. I watched for a lot of people it come down to pro or anti-immigration. For me, I saw an opportunity for my fellow Americans to no longer be disfavored, and a great opportunity for the bond between the UK and US to be strengthened. This was of course discussed, but for me it was pretty much everything. At the time of the referendum, in 2016, I was keenly aware of issues like this. Even as someone at no personal risk, as someone who moved here as a child and who has indefinite leave to remain, I have a special feeling of loyalty to my people. It's just in me. So to my eyes, the protect the immigrants kind of anti-Brexit guys were actually team, we want these guys, not those guys. Or in other words, when you say immigrants, you don't mean me. I'm from the wrong place, and many times, of the wrong color, particularly when it comes to internet influencers talking about immigration. And today we're going to watch Idubbbz' latest upload, Are You Scared of Immigrants?
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Idubbbz Complains. I am coming to you live from Barcelona, Spain.
First off, I wish this wasn't a bit and that he actually was staying in an Airbnb that looks like that. Secondly, we're immediately talking about Spain. Oh god, I'm gonna have to make another apology video for that intro. Obviously, he's gonna be talking about the impact of tourists and expats on cost and quality of life in parts of Spain, and the protests against over-tourism. I'm sorry, Idubbbz, I thought this was just going to be some generic, pandering, brown people good slop. But it actually looks like you're going to be digging into a very particular issue, and maybe even provide a novel perspective worth listening to, right?
If you guys aren't familiar with Barcelona, I recommend you keep your eyes on them, because they're looking like a pretty hot team this year.
Okay, soccer, a lot of ways to talk about immigration off of that. Where's you going to go with this?
Well, I know the season's coming to a close, but let's just say that some of my boys on the inside have told me that they have been taking steroids, which is going to improve their soccer performance.
Very good, Idubbbz, very funny. There's been a recent doping scandal, apparently. A couple guys have been fined. I don't follow soccer, I had to look it up. But that news only broke a couple days ago, which is after Idubbbz' video. Is he doing sports scoops now? I've got a bit of a tummy bug, folks. Is this a fever dream?
Today's episode of Idubbbz Complains is all about immigration.
Okay, here we go. And spoiler, Spain is never mentioned again. Apology retracted. Apparently that was just some random shit. Or I'm too stupid to get the point.
And xenophobia, and racism, and TikTok.
Look, I can handle racism and xenophobia, but TikTok? I might have to tap out.
And the TikTokification of xenophobia.
Okay, maybe the xenophobia will help the TikTok go down.
The interest in this topic was spurred on from a guy named Kurt Kaz. Now, this guy Kurt Kaz, he is a travel vlogger. So you would think with all of the traveling around the world, that would really open your mind to different cultures, different ways of life, and how we're all just people trying to live.
I didn't take Idubbbz for much of a traveler. I know he's been to Australia, as have I, but I've only been to Australia, Germany, Iceland. Went back home to the US in my teens. I'll be in Poland later this month, visiting Japan in November. But I think even after that, I don't think I'd be confident making any sort of claim about what travel does to you. I'd love to hear, though, some of Idubbbz' stories that led him to that belief. You know, when he visited the places this travel blogger's been to, how did his experience differ? He doesn't talk about that in this video, but I'm sure he must have a lot of air miles under his belt to be saying such things.
But unfortunately, he's a great example of how you can travel the world, and as long as your mind is fucking closed, everything you see is just going to confirm your biases.
Let's see it then.
Look at this. Look at the fucking state of the city.
Yeah, it looks like a real shithole. You can make the point that every city has shithole areas, but that's certainly one of them.
This is Rome, guys.
Like the Casbah.
This looks like in Bangladesh or something. Look at this, guys.
What do you mean, or something?
Probably means or some other place in South Asia.
I would like to hear more, but you're just saying it looks like Bangladesh. Is that because there's people from Bangladesh here?
Or somewhere like that. Certainly people whose families originate from there.
Or are you just assuming where people are from? There's a lot of people with brown skin in the world, and they don't all come from Bangladesh.
Fact check. True. You got him on that.
I don't know, do they have fresh fruit and vegetables in Bangladesh? I mean, that's one indication it might look like Bangladesh.
Funny point, but to be fair, if you look this place up on Google Maps, there is an Indian textile store in there. So you're definitely at least going to be getting some vibes of their neighbor. You're supposed to.
I've seen this guy's videos, by the way. He goes to Bangladesh.
Okay, thank you. Right. Wow, it is madness.
Nice pull. Yeah, I agree. Bangladesh looks like a nightmare in comparison.
He's gone to a random farmer's market.
Oh, now we gotta hold up though, because that ain't a farmer's market. I grew up in a small market town in the UK, where there would be a farmer's market every Tuesday. Now obviously, that isn't Italy, and some similarities could be drawn to the packed stalls, but you'd never see something like a stack of toilet paper. And the stalls would look less like this, which is a photo from the Italian market's TripAdvisor, and more like this, which is a photo from the town I grew up in. You will find clothing stalls of questionable authenticity at both though. What that guy's showing you, Idubbbz, is an indoor market. You can have a farmer's market indoors, I guess, but there's a difference. If you look up Italy farmer's market, you'll see the distinction exists there as well. My point is, if Idubbbz was right and that's what a farmer's market looks like in Italy, then yeah, Italy's fucked. And if the finest criterion you can discriminate by, if all you can see is, well, produce is sold there, then I can't help you.
Where the population of immigrants is a bit higher than other places in the city, and he's saying, yep, we're in fucking Bangladesh.
You got a point that he's saying this in an international market. Kind of a silly place to make the point he's making. But you were playing dumb about it looking foreign, when even pieces I find praising the place emphasize how international, how multicultural, how non-Italian it is. Additionally, this criticism only works with the TikTok clip alone. It's taken from a 40-minute video where they go around Rome. In full context, the "this is Rome" statement is a bit less silly.
Look at the state of this place.
You mind telling us what the state is?
Look at the fucking state of the city. Look at the state of this place. Look at this, guys. Look at this.
But I don't know what the state is.
Let me help you. There's a bunch of shit graffiti everywhere. There's a stack of toilet paper in the entrance. Overall, when he pans around, looks a bit grim. I would go somewhere else.
I need you, the vlogger, to tell me what the state is.
Look at this, guys. This is Rome. This is Europe. Does this look like Europe to you?
Yes, it looks like Europe to me.
Yeah, I agree. Not sure you're making the point you mean to, but yeah.
What the fuck else are we supposed to gather from this video?
Even as someone in opposition to this guy, you don't get it? Come on, man, you stopped boxing, didn't you? It's gotta have been a while since you've been hit in the head. Although maybe not, we all know about your relationship.
It's like this guy... this is so obnoxious. A lot of these guys that we're going to look at, they have an idea in their head of what European culture is.
This is totally true and real. In my limited travels, I've found that my image in my head, my anticipation of exactly how things are going to be, typically doesn't quite line up. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Okay, sure.
Their idea of these things is like a caricature. It is like a postcard. It is not like what they're actually experiencing on a daily basis.
Hold up, Idubbbz, what are you doing? The whole point's meant to be that this market is an exception. It's got a bunch of import store stalls. It is the cultural caricature market.
What are these people doing on a regular basis? Selling and buying a bunch of produce in a market. And he's saying, this isn't Europe. I'm not seeing any white cheese vendors.
Wait, that's supposed to be a crazy expectation. If that's insane to expect in Italy, maybe the guy has a point. Here in the UK, that's where I get my nice cheese from. At Christmas time, there's a great cheesemonger in a beautiful old building. I visit to stock up on more specialty cheeses. And each time I've been served by possibly the most British person that you could ever meet in your life. Italy is kinda known for its cheese. If it's wild to expect to see ethnic Italians selling cheese in Italy, I'm sorry man, that's fucking horrible. Idubbbz, if cheese has died from regular Italian culture, that's an incredible loss. What are you even saying?
This is nothing like Europe. This is nothing like Rome.
I don't see a single Italian here, guys. I am more Italian than any of these people. Look at this.
I don't see a single Italian here.
I don't see a single Italian here, guys. I am more Italian than any of these people.
Okay, dude. What the fuck are they? What the fuck are these people living in Italy?
What am I, living in the UK? Not British. For most people, it's a tough clock though, and an unlikely guess. If you didn't already know, would you be more likely to guess that I'm not British, or that they're not Italian? Obviously though, that guy is talking about race and ethnicity, and Idubbbz is talking about nationality. And I don't know if Idubbbz is just scared to directly address that and dive into it, or if he genuinely doesn't get what he's looking at. Like, I'm genuinely surprised he hasn't dropped the hard R on this guy. Not the one he used to say. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't call him racist.
What does an Italian look like? You don't see an Italian? What, are they gonna wear a name tag? Yeah, my name's Riccardo, the Italian.
See, this is where I start to feel like I'm losing my mind. Idubbbz, are you a crypto working for the other side? Why'd you put that name tag on Riccardo here, and not on, say, Luciana, who you focused on before? Probably, I'd guess, because that would come off as an anti-immigrant joke. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Again, I don't feel too good right now. Maybe it's a fever dream, but,
Maybe instead of saying, I don't see any Italians here, you can fucking ask any of these people who are most certainly Italian.
Idubbbz, what if he did and they said they weren't? For you, what would that change? Would you say, oh shucks, get rid of them then?
Ask them if they're Italian. I might not look like Mario, but I'm Italian.
You're not gonna like this, Idubbbz, but he did actually ask some people where they're from in the full video the clip's from. I'll give you guys at home a chance to guess what answer he got. 3, 2, 1.
Where you from, man? Bangladesh.
Gee, why did he mention Bangladesh later when he was at the market? Just crazy and random.
I know, it's hard to believe.
I am more Italian than any of these people.
Surely he can't keep dodging that this guy is talking about race and ethnicity. At this point, you're not powerfully asserting that citizenship is all that matters. I'm genuinely starting to worry that he might not know what he's looking at.
By the way, guys, his clothing brand is called Conquest. He's a white South African making travel vlogs that are vaguely xenophobic. And his clothing brand is called Conquest. We gotta retire one of those things, at least. I would recommend the xenophobic part.
Idubbbz, as established, he himself is foreign, and he's suggesting that something about him makes him more Italian than these brown people. You've got the green light, the ready for takeoff signal for the big R, and you're sticking with xenophobic? I don't think your heart's in this breadtube stuff.
But you could also change the Conquest part as well.
Not likely, seeing that is actually the guy's own brand. I'm genuinely surprised Idubbbz didn't have anything to say about the use of runes in the branding either.
Saying that the street is dangerous.
No, sono pericolosi.
Perché?
Perché hanno I coltelli tutti quanti. I macheti.
Machetes?
Machetes is emphasized as if that's some crazy thing. As someone in the UK, I've seen multiple headlines this year about machete attacks, but I don't know anything about Italy. You highlighted that he's saying, oh, machetes, but you're not interested enough to dig into it? Could talk about knife crime more generally? You'll love this article, Idubbbz. Genuinely, I think you'd get a laugh out of it.
Look at all these guys. Look at all the shits on the floor.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
And here they are, just loitering. Very dangerous, he's saying.
Se passo là io adesso, sono un centinaio, mi caricano, sicuro.
Maybe he's exaggerating his certainty, but you have no sense of where you should and shouldn't go in a city, Idubbbz? A couple years ago, when I went on the Spirit Tour in the Natural History Museum, I got pickpocketed in London's Chinatown. Full on, backpack unzipped, I had no idea. Local knowledge is a valuable thing. If I'd been warned to be more alert, it wouldn't have happened.
So this is the part of the video where they really up the levels of propaganda.
Alright, here comes the analysis.
They start you off softly implying by just showing you like, this isn't like the postcards of Europe that you see. You guys have heard of Rome in your history class. You never saw pictures like this. You saw beautiful things like the Colosseum, but now you have to see immigrants.
He wasn't that subtle about it. He said, it looks like Bangladesh. Do you remember?
And then you get to this guy who's like, all right, now that I've primed you, I'm going to tell you how dangerous this street is that's adjacent to the farmer's market. Never mind the fact that none of you have any idea what this market is, what this street is. He's just going to act like he's an authority on the matter.
Okay, but talking about not telling us stuff, you haven't told us who he is. The he in question is Simone Carabella. Best I can tell, he's an expert at putting himself in danger in Italy. He might have some insight. I don't speak Italian though, and I'm not going to do even more of your job for you.
And vaguely imply that it's an immigrant problem and not a poverty problem.
Oh, it looks like I jumped the gun. He doesn't even suggest that the guy's wrong about it being dangerous. Though Idubbbz wants to emphasize that it should be blamed on poverty. I think it's worth mentioning that in the few seconds before Idubbbz started the clip of this guy showing up, another detail was included. Look at the subtitles when I slow it down. Here's what was said immediately before Idubbbz's cut. Now, this doesn't necessarily go against the argument that it's a poverty issue, but I think it does affect the argument that they're trying to portray it as being just because they're immigrants. The guy stepped in to say, here's the street where dodgy dealings occur, be careful. If he's not bullshitting, that's just legit advice. And if we jump back a little bit further, the start of his warning is this. Now you could interpret that as because we're white, but he might literally mean he is not well regarded there, considering the content on his channel, messing with pickpockets and stuff. But if everyone around is brown, that's not their fault, is it? And it's in fact Idubbbz who told us that this whole area has a much higher concentration of immigrants than normal. As much as they may be painting a picture, you've also got a brush in your hand.
By the way, when I was editing this, I found the rest of this clip.
Oh, so the TikTok's just a highlight from a YouTube video. Yeah, I found it too.
He ends up leaving the marketplace and they go to...
Now that's simply not true. This happened before the market in the video.
Some random public area and harass some people who are just minding their own business.
He was bothering crackheads at the local park. Sure, not the most noble pursuit, but I'm not going to cry about it.
Talking about how he's from Europe and he's more Italian than these people. I think he mentions Africa at one point.
We're in Italy. We are in Europe. We are not in Africa. Get away from me. Okay. This is my country. Yeah, Europe. Are you from Europe? I'm from Europe.
Don't really have a problem with this section. The vlogger was just fucking with someone who's clearly not okay. Idubbbz did miss out the black guy going a rant about how you stole all our things, you're guilty of slavery, and he missed the funniest part. Kurt used this guy to make a point.
You see how they hate us, guys? You see how they hate us? The real racist is them.
Unlike the market clip that gets a bit better in full context, I don't think an aggravated tweaker is the best example to make this point with. I think it's enough that you don't want that shit around. You don't have to make it about who the real racist is.
Oh no! Europe is being overrun! Someone save Europe!
Oh, his point isn't that that's not representative, it's just them. That's fine, I guess. No, actually.
Now, these videos themselves are very bad, but when you go into the comment section, you realize how many people these bad ideas are attracting. Samantha says, import third world, get third world. Well, these are not imports. These are human beings.
Yeah, that's kinda insinuated to be the problem. People do stuff and behave a certain way, believe and want certain things. Get enough of them together where you live, and your culture is going to start to shift. As I've suggested before, this even applies to me. The revolution was not enough. You are going to be a state.
But if you're referring to, you know, there being a farmer's market, that's kind of a first world thing. That's just called a regular market everywhere else.
Not really surprised that the man recording himself in that room can't see the difference.
So yeah, you're wrong and you're also stupid. This is what the liberals want in America. Yeah, and they're getting it. They're getting their farmers markets and they're loving their farmers markets.
Jesus, it's that thing again, where he's saying exactly what someone opposite to him could say as an anti-immigration joke. Farmers markets are going to be a dog whistle by the end of this.
Thank you for making this content and hopefully waking up the European people. Oh yeah, this is something that you're going to see a lot, is people just sort of, when it benefits them, they will invoke the continent of Europe, and when it doesn't benefit them, they'll be very specific and say, oh, this is a real problem in the UK. This is a real problem in Rome.
I don't think that's what that is, buddy. Reads to me like a racial consciousness thing. I didn't think that could actually fly under people's radars, but apparently it has. Idubbbz is the one man in the world dog whistles actually work on, and he's decided it's a good idea to cover these topics.
Europe is finished. Rome has fallen. Again. Oh man. Yeah, farmers markets will be the end of Rome.
I'm telling you, man, it's only a matter of time until we start seeing Hitler Rapist 69 tweeting about how we need an end to, wink wink, farmers markets.
This is what America would be if Trump didn't put a stop to it. Yeah, and how's that working out?
If they're really hardcore, to them, that ain't a problem. This barb won't touch them. So just to know, at this point we're not doing a play-by-play anymore. I'm going to be a little bit more selective about what I'm showing you. Please feel free to watch his full video.
I'm not even Italian and it makes me sad. Well, don't let your racism affect you too much. For all you know, the Italians are loving it.
Italians, of course, being, as we've learned, literally anyone and everyone.
They turn every place they go into the place that they left. I think some people have a selfish mindset in thinking that because they themselves wouldn't leave the country that they were born in or have become accustomed to.
Not by choice, but I did.
That other people wouldn't do that, and if they are doing that, they're doing it for, like, sinister reasons.
There doesn't have to be a sinister or malicious motivation at all. It's just what will happen. If you give me the ability to influence things, I will align them with my values, which I have because of who I am. Get enough of people like me in your country, everyone's gonna have a revolver and the right to say any slur they want.
It's just like a basic human thought to be like, I want to bring some of my culture into the place that I'm traveling to, that I'm now going to start my new life in.
Yeah, it's not exactly a thought, you just do it automatically. Because it's not just food, your behavior, your values. That is also culture.
And of course it's going to be these places that are desirable to go to, and that are very multicultural.
Idubbbz, it's happening again. Understand that you're saying, of course this is happening because of the way your country is. Most people aren't going to hear that how you want them to. They're not going to come to the same conclusion as you on the back of that.
There's a reason why people are referencing Canada and the UK. It's because people who are immigrating to these countries like these countries. They like that their culture is either already kind of established there, and there are foods and routines and places to go and people to meet that are going to allow them to integrate better into the society.
It's easier to integrate because they don't have to engage as much with the broader culture and instead can stick to their own within established pockets of their culture. I'm sorry, this has to be satire. This is like the perfect clip to radicalize people against immigration.
After watching that video, a little while later, I started getting more content that was adjacent to that, this time in the form of Robin bagpipes.
Guess that's what happens when one of your parents is Scottish and the other's a Scouser.
I am proud of European culture.
Like I said, we're getting real snippy now because I don't want to hear that shit.
You'll notice that a lot of people going into the UK and a lot of Mexicans going into the US, they're not doing this shit.
I mean, not with bagpipes, but spend any amount of time traveling on trains, walking around places, you will run into a ton of guys blasting that dung da 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 on their phone and like auto-tuned music as loud as possible.
They're literally just living their lives.
Yeah, but they're living their lives on speakerphone, and it's the worst shit in the world.
And I think a lot of people, like Robin bagpipes perhaps, see, I don't know, Muslim people wearing hijabs or Indian culture being expressed or any of these like foreign cultures and religious traditions, and they think to themselves, oh, this is performative.
I don't care if it's performative or not, if it's annoying. You've got a smartphone, put your call to prayer reminder on that.
The immigrants going to your country of Scotland or wherever else, they're literally just trying to live.
And, I mean, align my surroundings with my values as much as I'm able to, or allowed to. Like, yeah, it's not some evil masterminded plot, it's just what people do, but that's not necessarily good for other people. And if I don't get what I want, I can just deal with that or fuck off back home to America. The natives don't have anywhere else to fuck off to. If where they live becomes something they don't like, they can't just go back home, because they are home. We're going to skip the rest of that section to avoid bagpipe trauma and look at his last example.
We've heard from a South African, and we've heard from a Scottish. Now we're going to hear from a Canadian. I'm talking Mr. Nelk.
This might be very controversial. Actually, I can't say it.
Oh god, what's it going to be?
This is the way I'll say it. Tim Hortons.
I've seen the Gary Eats review. That filth shouldn't be mentioned on YouTube.
If I walk into a shawarma restaurant, I don't want to see a white person serving me.
Just a little independent kebab shop? Yeah, no, don't eat there. Imagine going into a little family-run Chinese takeout, and it's not run by Chinese people. I don't trust it. Is that racist? Yes, but you're not making me eat there without seeing a bunch of reviews and pictures first, at the very least.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
If I walk into a shawarma restaurant and I see a white person serving me, I don't want it. So you can figure out the other side. If I see a white person in there, I'm fucking out. And Tim Hortons, you can figure out the other side.
Yeah.
For me, if I see a Tim Hortons, I'm out. My food racism doesn't apply after a certain level. Like high-end places, it doesn't matter. And unlike this guy, fast food, I don't care so much. But little independent places. Instead of Tim Hortons, let's say a tea room. If you're not top 10 most British people I've met, I don't want to drink your liquid. Doesn't mean it can't work out. I've had some great sushi from a Polish guy at the Birmingham rag markets. But there's just something about everything lining up, including the person who's serving you.
Listen, Mr. Jelk, it is still racist when you're using white people as the example for you to make the racist statement.
I didn't know Idubbbz was a gymnast. Isn't it so much easier and simpler to just say, it's still racist to not want white people cooking your food? You're kinda making their argument for them if you're gonna suggest, that's fine, just not for any other race.
This is the type of rhetoric you hear from conservative dads and grandfathers.
What the fuck? This isn't supposed to happen, he's cooking me.
Let's put it this way. Do I want a white guy making my kung pao chicken? No. Hell no, right?
Yeah, but for real, it's not an excuse or a rhetorical trick or something, it's just literally how I feel. Until you get to a more high-end establishment. Don't ask why, I just feel like when it gets to the point of higher level skills, gets into the realm of artistry, that becomes the story more than who's making it. Some of you know I'm a fucking food weirdo.
That's me saying fuck you to the white guy. You know, it's not about race.
Nah, it is about race. But it's not fuck you, it's just the vibe won't be quite right.
You know, I don't want white people cooking, I don't know, tamales.
We can cook it. I just don't want to go to a little Mexican restaurant, a little independent joint, look in the kitchen and see fucking Steve I went to school with. I'm gonna be biased against the food.
It's like if you walk into an Italian restaurant, you want Italian serving you.
I am more Italian than any of these people.
That's just good as hell. That's an Idubbbz W. But, yeah, I'd like that. That would absolutely be my preference if possible. Yes. I just think it's neat.
Dude, back in the day, when I used to go to Tim Hortons every fucking day, I would get a bagel and cream cheese with everything, and they'd put the cream cheese on both sides. Now what they do is they take the scooper, and they fucking put it on one side, and they fucking clap it like this. It's bullshit.
Okay, fair enough. This guy's lost me now. The non-whites are screwing you out of cream cheese? Brother, that's probably cost-cutting instructions from the franchisee.
You're describing this generally low-skilled job as like some high cuisine.
No, he isn't. Not at all. He's describing the degradation of standards at a fast food joint. The weird bit is that he's connecting that to race.
If someone fucks up half of your Tim Hortons order, it's still Tim Hortons.
It's like Idubbbz is implicitly agreeing that, yeah, the immigrants are messing up your orders, but that's fine because it's just Tim Hortons. I feel like I'm being trolled. I feel like someone deliberately set up something weak for me to attack like it's a trap.
In closing, I want to speak to all of the people who buy into this rhetoric. There's nothing to fear. You know, people in other countries are just humans living their lives, trying to exist, and when they go to your country, they're also just trying to exist.
What a beautiful message. Do you think if that South African you showed at the start moved to Italy and became a citizen, he'd just be trying to live? You don't think he'd try to shape the country any more than that? And that it would have nothing to do with him being South African and the values instilled in him through his upbringing? What if 1 million of him moved in? Do you think that'd be a problem? And then of course another 1 million come because they've already got a foothold for their culture like you described. That's cool with you. What a gigantic fucking waste of time looking at this video was. Hope you enjoyed this at least. See you next time.